It's a fact you're not here. You ain't even real, but you still bring me fear. You make my bones so tired that my soul stands up. But now I'm starting to need to bleed to fill this cup.
Gotta fill that cup, man.
Starting to need to bleed to fill this cup. Oh.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Working Wing, the podcast where every week we can, the two of us watch some episodes of The West Wing and break down from our own unique working leftist perspective. My name is Tim Schultz, and joining me, as always, my dear friend, longtime debate partner, and as I like to call him, Mother Teresa with first strike capabilities, Killian Collins is here.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Timothy Schultz. But yeah, it's been a couple of weeks. We had some technical difficulties. Hopefully they don't keep up. But we're gonna see how this goes. All right, but
Happy did not want us to make this episode, but we are here anyway.
Yeah, last couple of weeks, but we're excited about this one because this is an inauguration episode. It's I think we're gonna end up having a lot more to say about it than previous episodes.
So.
Like this one gets a little steamier, especially with like the timing of it and like when this is being written. I think especially. Yeah. But this is the inauguration 2-part episode of the story of the drama behind him being inaugurated and having this landslide fictional election that they had just won. And how do they gracefully like sweep back into like lame duck power? And just make it seem perfect without seeming like hypocrites. Spoiler alert: it's a pretty tight line to walk to not be a hypocrite in that position. So,
well, like the funny thing to me is that I think I've heard Aaron Sorkin talk about this before about how he needed Bartlett to win, and then for Congress to remain in the hands of his opponents in order to justify the government not accomplishing anything. Yeah. And that makes it clear that like Mr. Sorkin doesn't actually pay that close attention to politics because it turns out the government, when controlled by Democrats, is also just perfectly capable of not really doing anything.
Oh, they're remarkable at it. They're really remarkable with like having like all those pieces. Like it's with going, hey, well, we gave you all the pieces to the puzzle. Like you do control both houses and the presidency.
Yeah.
And you just like you'll always find some other obstacle to let that stop you.
Oh wait. Obama came in with a supermajority and then proceeded to completely and utterly waste it.
Or just do exactly what he was told with it, which is like wasting.
Right, exactly.
Squander it. Well, anyway, we start off a ball. The president's going to start off with the inauguration. Not just one ball, but how many, Tim? Like 13 balls?
Something like that, yes.
Yeah.
Well, also, like, I just have, like, they're being so intriguing with this setup because it's like, we're in media res. There's such like ominous and sexy mysteries unfolding.
Yeah.
Everywhere to start this episode.
Yeah. All of course starting out with like the secrecy and the whole allure of the president getting out of his car and getting out of his motorcade and getting out and talking about which Bible he's going to swear on, which becomes a silly little filler throughout the entire 2-parter. Leo caused a leak, which we'll learn about more later. President reserves the right for the use of force.
Right. Yeah. And it's just like, ooh, what the fuck is going on, though?
What is, Tim? What is? CJ's prepping the president for investigation in the press room. For his inauguration speech in the press room. They started to do their little thing.
He's making fun of her for trying to over-coordinate him.
Yeah. Yeah, but they all kind of. It's funny though because they all kind of treat world policy like in this, like it's like, oh yeah, like our inauguration foreign policy is like a fucking joke. It's the vaguest. It's the vaguest. Yeah, well, we can't be the world police except when it's in our interest, which is always. It will always
Right,
find a way.
exactly. I love. Yeah, it's you start to get this like sneaking argument that like, oh no, the problem with U.S. foreign affairs is apparently that we aren't active enough in the rest of the world.
Yeah, yeah. Like if only like these other places are literally just begging us all the time to like come in for them and help them out. And they're begging for democracy to come in and just help their country out so well, like like we always do. We're always known for doing that.
Yeah.
Toby is also sad that. Toby said that's the State Department's part. So
yeah,
we're gonna cut that. Yeah. But yes, of course, we were introduced to this civil unrest situation in this fictional country of Kundu because they don't want to say Rwanda, but they basically make the exact same genocide situation happen. That is what is slowly unfolding throughout these two episodes. Is the fictional one tribe, or in Rwanda it was real, but the fictional one tribe killing the other tribe and putting out on the radio, doxing people's houses, telling people where they live, where they work, where they can find them. People belong to this tribe, that tribe, having a full-on genocide.
Yeah.
Terrible time in this fictional Ivory Coast country that is a stand-in for Rwanda, obviously. Will Bailey decides to ask about foreign policy language and attempts to try and entrench his relationship with the president a little bit. Tries to say, well, we can have, we can go on a guy date and have coffee and just, you can get to know the way that I can get to know the way that you speak and, naturally, to which the president doesn't want to, which is surprising. He doesn't want to talk to this like absolute fucking nerd like that is eager to please him, but I don't know. I guess it's that whole little playing a hard ass until he's like ready to accept him, son. I've been a fan of him for the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah, they have to set up this like confrontational relationship between the two of them for the absurdities they have coming later.
Yeah. Right now Donna is all hung up on how many buttons on Lieutenant Reese's trousers and telling Josh all this. So that's
also for some reason there's just a random African bishop at this like congressional prayer meeting.
Yeah, that's like it's like all cardinals and shit. Like,
it's all it's just it doesn't really play.
Yeah. It's very weird.
I don't think they actually have any like random African bishops at those like congressional prayer breakfasts they have.
Maybe maybe they're suggesting the token one, which I can believe today, but maybe 20 years ago, like I like I'm a little skeptical. On TV 20 years ago, maybe.
Right, but like, is that like where our foreign policy actually comes from? I have my doubts.
Oh hell no! Especially being suggested to the press, maybe in like Carter's administration, maybe, but like that's maybe. Maybe that's the only place I can see that playing in like a Democratic administration. But that's the only place where like that's the only context where this makes any sense, and it's kind of like that little morph that they make Bartlett into, this like perfect like actor JFK that's like mixed a little bit with the best of Clinton and the best of Jimmy Carter and the best of all these fucking nerds that they wish that they were, the best of Gore, like without any of the drawback. But yes, this one African bishop begs the U.S. president, begs Bartlett to get America involved in this conflict directly in this fake Kundu nation, fake Kundu republic. He asked him if would your intel report be quite so sketchy if this was happening in a European country.
Shame on you, Mr. President.
Well, I know any of those other yeah, if they were happening to any of those like other bishops in there, Bartlett would send some fucking troops there right away.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, this bishop does have a good point, but
Will meets with Bryce Lilly, the public affairs of state. He big dogs Will on experience, argues over substance, use of force. Bryce leaves mad. Toby's bouncing the ball off of the window and says, like, yeah, I use that when I need to call you.
Which I would punch him for, honestly.
Right, you my fucking dog here. It's like
that's because we know that Toby is lying because we've watched this show for years and we've never fucking seen
him do that.
There was one episode where he did that, but that was like the episode where he found out that the president has MS. He was like bouncing his ball, but like we've never seen him like call Sam that way.
Yeah. Oh no. Like that's such a fucking diss. But like it's kind of uncharacteristic of Toby.
It is.
Like right. It's just like this. You just kind of like you make these characters like likable, and then you fucking like make them pricks. It's very much like I'm not sure if you're familiar with this trope as a Simpsons fan, but like the fucking the dickhead Homer trope where it's like you make a character like in several episodes like kind of likable and still has his moments, but like he's forgivable because he has wholesome moments, to just entirely like you make them kind of a gag and like a dickhead as a joke all the time, and it just gets fucking old. Like you don't have any of those.
Yeah,
you can't have those little moments of redemption or anything like that. But it's hopefully it doesn't stick around. The president and Charlie are doing. The president's. Oh yeah, I remember. Will had asked Charlie earlier for everything the president had ever like said publicly in writing, delivered to his desk, and that all showed up at Toby's office. And Toby and he let him know that he's that he basically doesn't he draft Will off with saying that, hey, you're just going to do the states you're going to rewrite the states part.
Yeah, and he's like, that's all you have to do, and like there isn't going to be some magic document that like ends up on the top of the stack that will like give you a pulse of inspiration.
Yeah.
And then someone literally delivers a speech that the president made about foreign policy like 20 years ago.
Hey, I mean,
I know, it's just like, oh no, they're turning self-aware.
Yeah. What are you gonna do? Oh, then we move on to President and Charlie with their Bible bonkers about how the Freemasons have the Bible, have George Washington's Bible, and they have
those damn Freemasons.
Right. Sending the Bible via train because they can't fly it. Apparently, the U.S. citizens got out of Kudu. CJ's with the press. Danny says his signal agent is.
Oh yeah, missed. All right. So we missed some of the backstory here. The way Danny was first alerted to this whole "did we kill Sharif" story was he found a signal operator from the airstrip in Bermuda where the U.S. operation was staged from.
Uh-huh.
But one day, this guy showed up to work at this airstrip and was sent away. And it was specifically the day Sharif died. And that's what put Danny onto the fact that we executed Sharif. This guy at the airstrip, he loves rugby. So one day he was just given the day off and went to go play some rugby. He realized he had forgotten his equipment, or maybe it was cricket. I think it was probably cricket.
An Andy Zoltzman fan.
Yeah, forgot his cricket equipment, went back to the airstrip to grab it, and then was told by an American, a random strange American he had never met before at the airstrip, that he couldn't come into the airstrip to grab his sports equipment. So, but then suddenly, when Danny has done more like work to track this story down, all of a sudden this air traffic controller has completely forgotten everything he's ever told Danny.
Yeah. Yeah, hey, he got a knock on the door.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh no, U.S. intelligence will do that to you.
Yeah. Yeah, U.S. Oh no, yeah, but oh God. Yeah, and then we had this little like flirting scene between them. That might come a little bit late. Well, no, that comes a little bit later. U.S. meets with some guy on Kundu. President asks for some force depletion report from going above his Secretary of Defense, I guess.
Yeah, he goes through the state. He goes through apparently this guy, according to this summary I'm looking at, this guy is the Assistant Secretary of State, rather than the. I'll get into the whole Defense Department thing because that's a very weird situation.
Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. CJ's with the press. Genocidal stuff in Kundu. Danny then asked the dickhead hard question to CJ and asked for like, well, what you gonna do about a U.S. intervention, huh? Like, yeah. He gets the saucy question. But of course, it seems like it's kind of. Yeah,
Danny kind of sounds like a Reddit commenter here.
Yeah,
I can tell.
Which to me in real life, it would be like, well, if they're making if he's going back and talking to her, they would have worked out like what she's gonna say and how he's gonna word it. Which he would have worded it nicer. Today, especially. Like, Donna tells Josh and Reese.
Reese is up to something. He's locked in his office and can't see her. And she wants to know what's going on.
Yeah, Josh is annoyed because he's realizing how much he wants to get into Donna's pants.
Yeah.
Scotus concern over. Yeah, there's like some SCOTUS like report of like some eccentric judge who keeps like.
The eccentric judge was the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Who was apparently taken to writing his opinions in first.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I have to ask you this question, Tim. It's like, if his rulings like made sense, would it matter if they're in rhyme?
I don't think so. I honestly have a note like that. I don't really see the problem. They also talk about how this guy this Chief Justice advocated for the Supreme Court to start wearing wigs like they do over in England
or South Africa, which I didn't know they did that either.
Oh, interesting.
Right. No, I remember seeing that with the ICJ thing. And I'm like, oh wow, they're powdered wigs.
But I kind of honestly like it.
I just don't give a shit. Like I just.
Well, I just think like Brett Kavanaugh should have to look like a fucking idiot while he sits there and writes his like goddamn idiot opinions.
Right. and has to do it in verse. Like.
Yeah. If the wig is like scratchy and uncomfortable, then like that makes it better. Like make Clarence Thomas wear that scratchy, uncomfortable wig.
And have to say things like, if you can't do the crime, don't do the time, and you're drunk as a skunk, and like having to piece together like anything. Yes.
Like, Chief Roberts has to come up with poetry as he's like banning abortion in the United States.
Right. Funny. Then we get Will learning about how he's getting to know the president's language and his sister. His sister is doing that whole little weird, her hanging around the office and saying, "What you up to, brother?" That I was flirting with like 5 episodes ago. Like,
yeah. Also, I think here is where I have a question, just an open question of like, what does Aaron Sorkin and the staff of the White House on this show suppose that the United Nations is for?
They're for us to boss them around.
Right. Well, except like not even that, apparently.
Not
it's
even
like
that,
it's absolutely absurd. They consider the UN to have absolutely no purpose whatsoever.
Yeah.
We'll get to that later.
Then we get Toby wants a foreign language policy changed. Will and Toby debate the details. Will advocate. Will brings up Kundo, the Rwandan country genocide. Toby doesn't want to establish foreign policy written by them.
Right. It's just such rank Americana bullshit.
Yeah,
like,
it
is. Toby is properly horrified at the policies that Will is espousing for. And it's like it's so weird because like Toby is being perfectly sensible, being like, "Oh my God, what you're talking about is like just unhinged and unrestrained American imperialism worldwide." And then like 2 scenes later, he's fucking all for it.
That is true. That is true. But but it's that whole lazy writing. You can just kind of make a flip on a dime type of thing, like the uncharacteristic Toby dickhead thing.
Yeah.
President's Bible is apparently massive. The one they got from Washington, the Freemason Bible that they had to carry with them, apparently is like as big as your torso. So they're not fucking using that thing. Oh, sorry, it wasn't George Washington's Bible. It was some fucking.
That was a Jonathan Edwards Bible. Who
was
great revival.
Yeah, from New Hampshire. Leo's getting a report from the Situation Room. Leo wants to go to Kundu too. He is on that Americana bullshit as well. And
right, well, and like, all right, so then he gets into a fight with Hutchinson,
Secretary of Defense. Yep.
Who? Let's be clear, is the Secretary of Defense, and Leo is sitting there having a fucking shouting match about this guy actively sabotaging the president's policy goals at every turn.
Yeah.
My question: why the fuck is this guy the Secretary of Defense? Why the fuck is this guy still? We know that we are 4 years into the term, and inauguration is around the corner. Why the fuck is this guy still the Secretary of Defense?
That's a good question, Tim. But I think that's because this is the world of make believe in this, in this one too. But also, too, I thought you were going to go off on, like, why is he the Secretary of Defense if he's advocating, not totally just going with, like, Leo's bullshit. I mean, like, he's got to have, like, a whole bunch of people. He's got a whole bunch of jobs lined up that are going to be like, hey, man, like, we're bidding to pay you, like, this much and this much and this much.
Right.
You, like,
why hasn't, if he hates the president so much, why hasn't the Secretary of State resigned? Because he would make so much more money from like any host of like military contractors if he just went to the private sector.
Yep.
It doesn't make him having this job and behaving and thinking the way he does towards the president makes absolutely zero sense.
That it is not. But yes, the secretary. But the secretary confronts him eventually on. Leo let it slip that they got to force a police report away from them, saying that we're not gonna lose 1,000 people. We only lose 150. And of course, the Secretary of Defense is like mortified. Is just like, so you're looking at shit behind my back now, like you're trying.
Right. And then Leo says, like, you actively undermine us. Anytime we ask for a police report, you drag your ass for days. You leak it to the press before you give it to us, and it's blown out of proportion when it's leaked to the press. This guy's a joke.
Yeah, he does hate the office. So, but yeah, Leo has a temper tantrum after he leaves. Another goddamn it, go to hell. Like old people moments. I'm sure there's a lot of those in office today. President and we get the Bartlett and Will's office. They ask the question. Will ask the question: why is a Kundu's life worth less than the U.S. citizen's life?
I don't know, sir, but it is spicy.
We get the spiking of spicy. We get the Danny and CJ flirting again scene with CJ on the press, and the Kundo numbers are even worse than they thought, but they still have their little flirting scene and what Danny's gonna do, or what she would do to keep him around, and she said she'd do that. Josh is insecure. The trouser button knowledge. Press briefed on on the Roosevelt. The Roosevelt room, I guess.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I know what this note means. Sorry. Leo just tell the president that his Secretary of Defense meeting with Hutchinson went very badly. Reese is apparently in trouble for potentially doing the leak, and Donna is upset that he's being transferred. Josh plays coy, and Jean-Pierre gets more close with Zoe.
Charlie is mad that Jean-Paul is sitting with Zoe in the friends and family section.
So of course, like Charlie and Josh are in the mutual "we gotta get our girl" type of motivation.
Yes.
And then we get the dramatic ending of the news that, according to the CIA, neighbors are sleeping with are trading each other's family members to rape each other in hopes that they will not kill each other.
It's absolutely fucking terrible, and that's the kind of shit that does happen in real world genocides.
Mm-hmm.
And it fucking sucks, but only America can stop it, apparently.
And we have no part in formulating any of this, like, racial hatred or ethnic hatred or Islamic hatred or I'm sorry, religious hatred in general at all. Like, we don't do any of that shit.
Right. Well, and we didn't personally denude this entire area of the world of most of their natural resources, including their people, for centuries or anything like that.
We also just don't torture people for fun and take pictures of having fun torturing them. We don't do that because only really stupid and dumb people would do that.
Of course.
Really stupid fucking dumbass fucking people who are evil in their hearts would do that type of shit. Perhaps pile up naked men in a pyramid and dance around taking pictures of that. People like that who are pieces. But America doesn't do that shit.
Of course not.
No, hell no. Hashtag Seymour Hersh is a liar. Now part 2 of Inauguration. Toby starts off with Grill and Will on the Kundun Lives line. They bring up self-determination, watchman of all mankind. Government is the instrument of good, quoted by Will. I forgot the relevance of that. I don't know if you have anything to say about that first little exchange that they have.
Oh, there. No. It's that was from one of the State of the Union episodes where, all right, in our reality, in one of his earlier State of the Unions, Bill Clinton stood up and declared the era of big government is over.
Yeah.
They wanted to do that same line in the West Wing, but Toby and President Bartlett teamed up to stop it.
Oh, okay.
And that is what Will is referencing here.
Okay. CJ's with the press, act of genocide, and what is defined as a genocide. Danny is also reminding CJ that he's getting hotter on the Sharif story. The pilot story is shaky. Will, Toby, and Josh are on the speech. Will finally sticks up for himself and breaks the fucking window.
Yes, he hurls the ball so hard the entire window shatters, such is the force of his anger
and devotion. President wants the Washington Freeman Bible. He wants the Washington Freemason Bible. CJ dodged the rescue press orders. CJ dodged the rescinded press. The rescinded president's orders via Leo. Abby's sleeping reading. Yes, I think we see Abby here, but I can't remember what she's doing.
She is dozing off. The president wakes her up.
I think they have a little marriage exchange. So, like, she does her bit of being like, "I'm the first lady on the
Yeah.
I can't remember what she does for the inauguration part too much. Yeah, the gang is at some little trendy bar. They're debating foreign policy and like whether you should send each other's like over. Basically, CJ is saying that, like, it's like, well, yeah, we have to go over there, do this, do that. Toby's kind of making the point of like, well, we're not sending us over there. We're sending other people's kids there. Like, it's
Which
that.
is true.
Right. And to get into this whole freedom.
But I mean, also, I point out, yes, and I get Toby's point, but also we do have a volunteer military force.
That's true, but it doesn't. But does that mean just like send them into anything?
Well, no, but it's like they kind of make it out like, oh, these people had no choice but to serve, and we're just going to spend their lives anywhere willy nilly. It's like I think people who sign up for the military are signing up for the military.
I do. I mean, I'll split hairs a little bit with you there, just because it's like there are. The way that this military is designed, the way that it's going more and more, and this is the way that like most imperialist militaries go, is that they start outsourcing all of the fighting they need to have from the people who are sick of fighting for them, and they go more and more into the desperate who just needed to get into their country because of the horrors of imperialism in their own country, or or perhaps the country they're living in or they're escaping from, and this is the only opportunity they have to have any sort of stability at all. And they do take the risk of dying for that, but they're kind of taking the risk of dying anyway in their economic situation. So
yeah, I mean, that's all fair.
Right. And I think I don't think you disagree with that either. I think it's just like the human point of, as we go further into these crises and like as we dip further into the imperialist cauldron and we get to the bottom dirty sludgy parts of it, it's going to be more and more militaries full of just poor working desperate people who this is their only chance to get into any any livable class, really. Like,
yeah.
So, but
even right now, I think most branches of our military are having problems meeting their recruitment goals.
Oh, absolutely,
more than ever before in history.
Yeah, like
over the past few years,
especially with right now we're flexing more than ever too. Like it's not any time to be fucking doing that when you can't keep your recruiting numbers up. So the more desperate situations, but they're also talking at a time where this wasn't an issue. Like this was, right. Of course, like poor and middle class. Some people just do it because they want to. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, in the real world, when this was written, we were in the process of like the largest military ramp up our country has had since Vietnam.
Yeah.
Post 9/11, and then watching a double forever war.
Entering the 21st century on really, really hot coals.
Yes.
But any are somebody else's kids too. But right, like none of their own folks. I mean, the only folks
it's a lucky answer, and he admits it. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. The president's channel. I'm sorry, I'm showing my notes here. Oh yeah, the president channel serves very late at night. We have this little like this little editing of him like looking at the toy marching wooden soldiers and like thinking about the marching battalions that he's sending in there, and he gets sweaty and panicky.
Yeah. The president watches Laurel and Hardy and realizes that he is. Okay, I'm just reading from the summary here. So I never actually really made the full connection of what the president sees in that Laurel and Hardy movie. In this scene, Laurel and Hardy are rearming their cannon when they realize they are standing in a warehouse full of wooden soldiers that can simply be activated to win the battle and save their village.
Oh, okay.
Watching images from Babes in Toyland marching on screen, and simultaneously on an adjacent TV, images of U.S. soldiers marching in formation, the President Bartlett has an epiphany. Just like Laurel and Hardy had been employing half measures to save their village when its soldiers stood idle, his own administration has been employing half measures to stop the violence in Kundu while U.S. soldiers stand idle. He then picks up the phone to summon Leo.
Oh, so that's what we're supposed to pick up from all of that.
Yep. He's
Well,
going full Mike from Breaking Bad. No half measures.
So I mean, so apparently everyone in the government's just Walter White when, after he kills Gustavo, spoiler alert, and Mike sees him and says, "Well, Walter, I've been up for 2 fucking days," and Walter just says, "Well, you said no half measures." He says, "Funny how that's open to interpretation, isn't it?" Josh is for the intervention. CJ rushes out.
Yeah, they get notification of the leak in Danny's article and the president's change of heart at the same time.
Mm-hmm. He got screwed. Now CJ is the redhead instead of Siobhan crying, "I got fucked. Mom fucked us." Instead, Danny fucked us. Gang leads president. Gang meets with President Leo.
There'll be freedom for everywhere.
Yeah.
A doctrine of force for humanitarian relief around the world, starting in Kundu.
Yeah. Learning, religion, freedom from tyranny everywhere.
We will visit the absolute horror of this reality in a little bit, I think.
Freedom of speech. I love that one. Must be met with strength. He's Pharaoh. Doing it for humanity. Will smiles. Quote came from, apparently Josh is under the impression that the quote came from Donna because the leak mentions that, well, everyone's respectful in this everyone treats each other with respect in this office unless you wear a uniform.
Correct. And Donna was one of the people who spoke to Danny.
Yeah. The president is quoting Isaiah to Leo about the humanity of all of this. I can't remember what he was even quoting exactly. Doing well so far. Very Carter-esque president. Like, I don't know, but it feels very Carter-y these last 2 episodes. Motorcade on the inauguration day. We have our presidential couple quibbing in the car. Green screen behind them, yelling about these or complaining about these soft ass Southerners wearing coats and stuff. Bible apparently still on its way. They're just going to
right. Yeah, there was like a frozen train track that stopped the Bible from arriving on time. So Charlie has to go and physically fetch one from the congressional library.
Yeah. Toby's pacing with anticipation. Will is also pacing. CJ jokes that she jokes with South Carolina judges. She jokes about the Supreme Court judges rhyming and alliteration.
Yes.
Danny apologizes to Josh for the piece. Quote came from a different aide, to which Josh says, "I'm gonna fucking kill her." And then Josh does his favorite thing. Like it's my favorite thing. The favorite, like, we always come back to this full circle of this political gang coming, this gang of of White House staffers going to some woman's house in the middle of the night.
Yes. It is totally weird, totally inappropriate.
And it's like the same type of set too. It's like the same type of set, like the same type of setting as like the escort girl or like anyone else. It's just like this kind of like, Brooklyn style looking like, duplexes down the street that are like wider than Brooklyn, but yes, the gang ambushes Donna at her apartment, and like Josh, and not only Josh, but like Charlie and Toby and shit, like all get out of the car and like pelt her window with snowballs and trying to ask her, like, they're gonna like, oh yeah, Josh is gonna play bad cop, and you're gonna be good cop here.
I have some other notes, actually, just looking back at this. All right. Note 1, Danny is presented as a good reporter in the show. Danny is a fucking terrible reporter.
Yeah.
He runs everything he's about to report to the press secretary whom he has a sexual relationship with. That's not a good fucking reporter.
Sounds like a stenographer for the state.
He really fucking does, because he's like so scared that if he says anything too mean about them, he's gonna get cut off.
Yeah. He's gonna lose his access. He's gonna lose his honey.
Like, yeah, is it really that? Like, yes, also, like, I get you asked the subject of a article for comment, but you do that when your investigation is complete and you're ready to like publish the damn thing. You don't like clear it step by step with the people you're investigating.
No,
that's not journalism. The other note I had was, okay, CJ's answer was like talked about like fires, and like I get where she's coming from. It's a lefty answer. I am a lefty, but then the natural extension of that is like, why do you only start caring about what's going on when there is a fire? Like, why do outside interests only become a thing when like the country you're considering is like on fire already? If you're for, and like, that's the real implication of Bartlett's foreign policy. It's not just freedom everywhere. It's what, universal education. It's universal free speech. Things that we don't really have here in this country.
Right. Like, healthcare, for example.
Right.
None of that stuff.
Like, yeah, we're damn for sure not we're not for universally equal educational outcomes in our own country. But apparently Bartlett is going to be pushing for that across the globe now.
Yeah.
It's horseshit. It's horseshit.
That also, like, we're totally big on freedom of religion unless, like, you're a scary Islamic looking person.
Right. Well, and
we're not funding, very importantly.
Right. And like another key portion of this is that like he's making this grand statement about like freedom and equality and democracy and rule of law worldwide when he just secretly murdered the foreign secretary of another country.
Yep. Rules-based order.
Yeah.
And who makes the rules? It's a big...
We do, baby. Biggest gun. Mother Teresa, the Mother Teresa with first response capability makes the rules.
It's a big club, baby, and you ain't in it. Same club that hit you in the head with.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a damn big club. Anyway, back to like our favorite part about like, politics, visiting, going to women's houses like uncalled and, pelting their window with snowballs until they answer. So you get a response. Josh is all like, we know it wasn't you. We know you're just covering for Jack. Okay. We know you said, you look amazing. Just come on out here with this. And, we're not going to hurt you at all. To which I know, and this is the real world, Donna would like shut the curtains and like call the police and quit her job. And
right. Well, I'm like, all right. They are overreacting to this quote. And B, just fire Donna. It's not that hard.
In real life, the Josh would have like 8 secretaries lined up.
Yeah, exactly. Just she's a low-level secretary.
But Josh wants to have his I want to bone her sideline, so we're gonna keep that plot going. CJ knows about Sharif. Yes, speech is liberalism with a grenade launcher. That's pretty much how any of our foreign policy speeches have been by Democratic or Republican presidents. Either way, Republicans tend to have a more we're gonna show them what's going on. We're gonna show them who's the boss, who's got the biggest bomb.
Yeah,
that's their thing. But
and again, Pulitzer Prize winning Danny is again just joining the guys for a quick let's go over to this woman's house. The worst fucking.
Oh yeah, I forget he's there too.
He's there too. He's investigating these people by day and then just fucking straight up partying with them by night.
Not to get intel, like not to actually get intel, mind you. He's just doing it
just to have some fun.
Right.
Those guys really know how to party.
Makes me think of Always Sunny.
Yeah, he's more like one of those like classic like music reporters back in the 70s who would like follow the Stones on tour for like a few weeks.
Oh yeah.
Like I feel like that's the kind of story he's more writing now rather than like a hard-hitting investigation.
Yeah, actually gumshoe journalism and treating these people as adversaries and getting the stuff that they don't want you to see.
Yeah.
But hey, that's that fiction. This is part of that nice Aaron Sorkin fictional world. This makes it fun. Well, but that's it for this week. I believe Tim will be going to the next 2 linear episodes.
Yes.
All right, folks. We should be back next week. God willing, we have no problems. So, until next time, folks. Keep working.
Keep on working.